Oh, hey. Shipwreck 64 is a game that was created all the way back in 1997 by Cogware Games. It features a beaver named Bucky who's shipwrecked 64 and wants to save his friends, who got kidnapped by wolves on the island they crashed on. As Bucky talks around, he learns that a volcano is bound to explode in 5 days, so naturally, Bucky sets off to rescue his comrades. He's able to gather up 3 of his buddies, Walter Walrus, Giovanni Goose, and Olive Otter at the beach, but there's still 2 problems. His boat is totaled, and the volcano is going to literally kill everyone on the island. So, Bucky talks with Chief Wolf to get his boat parts back and helps out a bunny named Stumbler, who's an artist, which leads him to a stranger named JD. He says that there's a canal boat big enough to save the entire town, but the only way to it is through the volcano. So, the selfless Bucky decides to go through with the perilous plan and ends up helping not only his friends, but also the entire town avoid impending doom. But I haven't been entirely truthful. The game that I just showed you was not made in 1997, it was created in 2023. In fact, the 1997 version was pulled off shelves only 3 days after being released. What this 2023 copy set out to do was to deliver the game's original vision, without the artifacts. Mascot horror is pretty well known in the modern age, but if you're unaware of what it is, it's pretty much, as the name implies, horror that centers around a seemingly child-friendly cast and/or environment. One of the most iconic examples of the genre is Five Nights at Freddy's. However, if you've been keeping up with mascot horror's evolution lately, you've probably noticed that the whole thing has kind of been done to dust. It sort of started with Bendy and the Ink Machine and slowly distorted into things like Rainbow Friends, or Bon Bon, or Five Nights at Sexy's. The point is, it's oversaturated. All of these games stemmed from Five Nights at Freddy's and tried to reinvent the formula. And while yes, some of them did alright, most of them were complete flops. I mean, it's ridiculous. What's next? The Five 97? Come on, man. What are you looking at?
A resin walker is a highly agile creature that preys on people who aren't subscribed to resin. If you or a loved one sees a resin walker outside, report it to county police immediately, lock all doors, close all windows, and shelter in place. If the resin walker remains in the premises, make sure to remind him about his rounds video. This will lower his confidence, and he will flee.
Another staple of the internet is the iconic alternate reality game genre, or ARG. ARGs are often presented through the lens of analog horror, which is horror media that adopts the style of late 20th century technology. For example, VHS artifacts on a video. The reason these two styles mesh so well is that if you're creating a real game from scratch as an indie dev, it's convenient that most game assets from the time period that analog horror represents look like this. Now that's not to say that game devs are lazy, it's just a nice stylistic approach that also removes a potentially much longer production process for a game. Furthermore, the feeling of analog horror capitalizes off of the unfamiliarity of old devices, and even if you were born in the time, with the advent of so many new technologies, the world now is so much more different than in the past, which means that although you may be familiar with the devices, they still represent a period that is long gone, and nothing like the world today, which can give off an eerie feeling. Much like mascot horror, analog horror and ARGs have also been done plenty of times. So, how could you take these two well-established genres and make them into something fresh? Well, the answer is just kind of like, yeah. This game is amazing. But before I dive into this masterpiece with you, I'd like to say that the best way to experience the game is to play yourself. So consider doing that before you watch this video, as there will be multiple spoilers and not only lore, but also in a few puzzles that the game has. I'm going to try to steer clear of going super in depth with the puzzles themselves, but I do inevitably reveal aspects of them due to the nature of the game being, well, a puzzle game. But I think it's very underrated for what it is, with only 139 Steam reviews at the time of this script. So consider wishlisting it or whatever. I'm not your parent. If you want, you can skip around the video using the chapters, as, for the most part, they're designed so you can leave off on parts of the video or just hop into others. Oh, and I need you to sign this waiver. There's a few sensitive topics in this game. Don't worry about reading the fine print. Just sign right here. Oh yeah, here's a pen. Yeah. Cool. The video will start now. I opened up the 2023 version of the game with pretty much no idea what I was getting myself into. My first exploration was that of the Hole, which is a room that you can use to sleep when it's midnight. Once I'd situated myself and saved, I went out into the living quarters. Upon arriving, the first thing that caught my attention was a simple locked door. I'd made no note of it at the time, but it will be important later. Shortly after that, I talked to this wolf and became cognizant of the fact that there's a giant fucking volcano on this island.
Holy shit, there's a volcano.
Walking along, I saw one of Bucky's friends that he was looking for, Walter Walrus. I struck up a conversation with him and he asked for my help in retrieving his boat,
Can you try to get...
but included the ominous warning,
Oh, and don't move if it gets dark?
this would be the first time that I truly got a sense of dread from the game. In Walter's level, there's a mechanic where the entire map goes dark with a shushing noise and you're meant to stand completely still. Every time this happened, my heart sank and I prayed that I'd stopped in time. Thankfully, I completed the level and saved Walter Walrus with no hiccups.
Let's go. Let's fucking go. Fuck yeah.
Now, the rest of this first run plays out pretty much how I described the story of the game in the intro. However, there are a few notable things that happened in my first run. Firstly, for some reason, my All of the Otter level was not working. Spoiler alert, my game was just glitched, and I wouldn't find this out until the next day. Additionally, I'd like to mention a few things that you should probably know before we continue onto my second run of the game. There are 5 primary minigames. There's the walruses, the otters, the gooses, the wolves, and and Stumblers minigame. All of these minigames to some extent progress the story, and there's one that I'd like to make particular note of now, which is Chief Wolf's minigame. In it, you need to collect 6 boat parts while also avoiding this Wendigo looking creature thing. It's quite easy to do so, but it has a mechanic where you hold Z on your keyboard and it gives you this X-ray vision that shows you where the boat parts and the monster are. Also, in the last part of the game where you go through the volcano, I was getting very mad because I kind of sucked. There were multiple jumps that I underestimated, some that I overestimated, the time constraint was brutal, and if you messed up twice, you probably weren't going to make it. This is probably one of the only complaints I have of the game. Even though it's a small nitpick, this part is very tedious, and I was genuinely going feral. But once I got my shit together and locked in, it was lit. With the 2023 version of the game completed, it was time to play the actual game.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm fucking excited.
It started off normally, however this time around not only was I not able to play all of Otter's level, but I was also now not able to play Walter Walrus's level. So I ended up doing Giovanni Goose's and Chief Wolf's level, but then came across something peculiar. The locked door that I'd seen in the 2023 version had a slight alteration. There was now a sign next to it, which I'd come to understand would signify what it leads to. So naturally, I checked the sign, curious about where this locked door could go, and this happened.
What's gonna happen?
1015 Cairo International at 1520 in.
This was the first lead that I'd gotten so far. Obviously, whatever the sign says must be significant somehow, but with my current knowledge at the time, I couldn't do too much to make use of it. I began to scour the game for more clues or secrets, and came up mostly empty-handed, with the exceptions of finding another locked door, and an out-of-bounds section that seemingly had no entry. However, I was at a dead end. I had no idea how I could make progress, so I turned to the internet for a nudge in the right direction. I eventually found advice. Failing minigames is the way to go. I booted up the game again and tried it out on Giovanni Goose's oven level. On my first failure, nothing really happened, besides the fact that he insulted me on a very personal level. But on the second failure, something did happen.
Oh, that fucking scared the shit out of me, dude.
Whoa. After witnessing a live leak, I went back to the Goose for round 3. Once I'd finished his level and beat it at world record pace, he disappeared. Not only that, but the door behind him that was previously locked had now been unlocked. Allowing my curiosity to get the better of me, I went inside. This is Layer 2, which is where the meat of the game really begins to show itself.
Dude, they're having bowling ball for dinner.
So far, we've seen the first layer, that being the entire overworld. The beach, the hole, the living quarters, everything. However, it's now abundantly clear that that is not all this game has. Behind these locked doors around the map, it seems that there are places that the player was not meant to find. Now, we're getting somewhere. Opening up a few doors, I asked myself,
Where the fuck am I right now, dude?
okay, let's back up a little and make a visual map of where we are. We started out in layer 1 with Giovanni Goose's minigame located inside the theater, which is located inside of the living quarters. We went into this unlocked door that led us into layer 2 and into a room called the diner. We then went up this ledge and made our way into some sort of art gallery, which has another door that leads out to this open landscape along with this barred off door that leads somewhere. You know what? That's a lot. Let's just relax and appreciate some good art. Truly a classic. The composition in this piece is simply immaculate. That's weird. There's another number painting. Oh. The door led me to a museum that, to be frank, was a huge lore dump. We learn about a company known as Broadside Animation and about the man who founded it, Rex. Rex is revealed to be deceased, and the announcer's voice talks about how he was scammed by a company that saw potential in his work. This major loss would somehow lead to the creation of Bucky Beaver and Rex's resurgence in popularity. Additionally, on one of the walls, there's a picture of a cartoon that was produced by Rex, named Grave Mistake. This was the first cartoon to include Bucky, and in it, Bucky is said to be buried alive. Shortly after Bucky raises for the player, he makes a side comment about how he wishes he could be buried too. Perhaps there's more to Bucky than we know. Anywho, the museum also contains a button that when pressed opens up this gated off door in the diner. And there's a barrel that you can go inside of when you interact with it. I wonder if that will be significant later on. I began my way back to the diner and located the newly accessible door. Upon entering, Bucky immediately notes that it smells awful and recommends that we leave. He even shows us that he knows about the saving mechanics and tries to get us to go back to our last save. Wouldn't that be nice, Bucky? Looking around, we can see 3 doors behind us and 1 door in front of us. The 3 doors each have a sign. One says the pool, another the diner, and the last the dam. The diner is the one we just came out of, so we know that there are 2 other main rooms for layer 2. We just don't know where they are yet. However, it's safe to assume that they could be related to the locked doors in layer 1. With that in mind, I did the puzzle in the stinky room and got a code. After walking through the door, Bucky stopped to give me a pep talk. I completely disregarded him and smashed in the code like a boss, which led me to this open room. I clicked on this button on the TV and it opened up a page for Cogware Games. On the page, it mentions 3 names: Connor Thomas, Elizabeth Baker, and Harry Waters, who founded Cogware Games. It talks about how Cogware Games and Broadside Animation partnered together to create Shipwreck, with the Cogware team receiving funding from Broadside. Also, side note, I never really thought about this, but Unreal Engine is very old, like 1998 old. I mention this because canonically Shipwreck 64 was created on Unreal Engine. Furthermore, it talks about how it was licensed to Cogware Games before the release of the game Unreal, which actually aligns with real life. I thought that this little detail was super neat and shouldn't be lost in this video, so yeah. The whole use of an old internet webpage is such a cool idea as well, but I'll go more in depth on these things later on. This game's so cool. As I continued deeper into the room, I came across a hallway that had warnings as you approached the door. They warn you to reconsider continuing into the game and are both signed by a man named Connor, one of our 3 names that founded Cogware. But because I'm Sigma, I brushed them off. There's a silly little creature that scurries away after you enter and some mention of a dude named Brandon. This is layer 3. We've gone so deep into the game at this point that it has become distorted and barely resembles the overworld. On the dock that we find ourselves on, there's a tape named PKJUJB, or PKJB.
It hit her before she even knew it was coming. It started with loud screaming.
By the sound of it, someone is not very happy.
Any will to swim away slowly drained away as she sunk down further into the water, polluting its natural color.
Okay, we know that this took place in water.
The rodent stood a few feet away, watching the effects of his actions, and only began to walk away when she stopped struggling.
The assailant is a rodent of some type, which, strangely enough, beavers are also a rodent of some type, which I didn't know until searching it up. Perhaps this is significant, or maybe not. Either way, we don't know what to make of this except for the fact that Bucky, or whatever this thing is kind of not seeming like a super chill guy. This with the fact that he wanted us to stay out seems strange, but we'll keep this in mind. I picked up a candle on the dock and read this sign that had more nonsense. I followed the blood trail to a door that led to a hallway. Going down the hallway, I found tons of barrels, all of which I could hide in.
Ooh. What?
I was beginning to get a little uncomfortable. I made my way to this outdoor area and found a computer with a button. Interacting with it, I was greeted with this webpage, a helping nub by Stumbler and Wolf. Diving into it, we learn many things. For example, Stumbler's arms were lost after a rabid wolf attacked him. This is also where it's officially made clear that we are currently in layer 3 and that all the other areas that we speculated as being layers 1 and 2 are just that. It gives us the goal of opening the layer 3 gate by activating all 3 computers and turning on the gate control, which will get us one step closer to the fabled layer 4 that's supposed to be a paradise. Sounds like a plan. Oh, another thing in this guide, Beaver Scratch. This is the jumbled up nonsense that we've seen on multiple signs and on that one recording name. With this single page, we can decipher literally all of it. Going back to the recording, the actual name is Olivia, and going way back to the signs on the overworld, they say layer 2, room 3, and layer 2, room 1. This sign says where we lie. We also get this neat cipher guide that will come in handy. Whoa. Where are you going? We've got one more piece of crucial information from this page. Dwellers, or Starlings, are also in layer 3 with you, and they have the faces of Bucky's friends. So you can rest easy knowing that you're not alone, and you may be seeing some familiar faces soon. It tells us that if we end up in one of their friend cells, we can use the code 7418 to break out, and the barrels that we saw earlier are going to be useful for evading them. And if you think you're slick, the menu is not a viable solution to quell your fear either, as it also makes note that it won't help to pause. Wow. Now I am so much more pumped to explore layer 3. I continued into the depths and went through the only door that was unlocked for me, the door to the right of the computer, which would lead to an interior containing the first computer to the control gate. I found this key code puzzle and solved it, and then stumbled upon this recording named Devlog Mark, which would be a recording of some guy talking about how he doesn't feel safe around someone, likely whoever Mark is. I wandered around a little more and saw this freaky statue.
What is that? What is that?
Then I found another recording named Devlog Progress. In it, the same guy from Devlog Mark is talking about how their game development on Shipwrecked is going. He mentions a person by the name of Liz, who we can assume is Elizabeth Baker, one of the founders of Cogware. In the recording, it's strongly implied that Liz is some sort of modeler or art director on their team. For the next few minutes, I didn't really know what to do. I knew there was this door that I thought I needed to get the code for, but I had no clue where to get it. And as I was looking over Stumbler and Wolf's guide, this happened. Okay, it's time to call it a day. I went back to layer 1 to do some extra exploring before I concluded day 1, and right before I was about to stop, I found this. Oh, there's a guy there. Oh, there's a guy up there. How did he... Whoa! With that, I officially ended off my first day and saved the websites in the most convenient way I thought possible, dropping them into one of my friend's Discord chats. The following morning, I woke up to my friend, Bryce, DMing me. Apparently, he found the same feeling of intrigue from the game that I did and went ahead and downloaded it. This could be very helpful. Before, when I was solo, it was hard to make any progress, but with 2 people exploring different parts of the game, maybe we'd get to the bottom of this seemingly endless rabbit hole. We hopped into a call together and began our work. Immediately, I found out that my game download was glitched, as he told me that he was able to play both Walter and all his minigames on his download. So I verified my files, and their minigames worked. After some looking around, I decided to show my friend the glitched out area on my run that I discovered at the end of my first day of exploring. Going through this door led me to a roof area where I saw the wolf guy on. I found him and realized that he has the same model as Chief Wolf, but his name is Connor. This is probably Connor Thomas. His dialogue backs up this theory as he talks about how he created this world. So, is Connor still alive? And if he isn't, why is he in this game? This interaction raised so many questions. With that in mind, we continued on. Now that my download wasn't fucked, I was able to fail Olive's minigame by having Bucky repeatedly beat her in-game. This caused the game to shift into this dark interior with a projector and a tape. Upon interacting with the tape, we see that its name is Olivia's last phone call. That name sounds kind of familiar. The tape itself is a recording of a voice message. The woman in the tape, presumably Olivia, is talking about how there is something that keeps showing up at her door. Right after she says this, we hear violent banging and shifting. Olivia is probably not alive anymore. If you remember from earlier, the tape named Olivia explained how someone was drowned by a rodent. That someone is Olivia, and the tape we just listened to is her being captured by Bucky shortly before he stuffs her face into a big puddle of water, aka a lake. At this point, we began taking the advice of failing minigames a bit more seriously.
I'm gonna try to fail the walrus's game.
I went ahead and continually failed Walter's minigame, which only yielded a cutscene of Bucky eyeing me down like a piece of meat.
Ooh, we got something.
Oh shit.
Is that Freddy Fazbear?
For the most part, it seemed like nothing really changed. So I went back to Olive to fully fail her minigame. After failing again, I returned to the same building that I was in last time, but now the roof was gone. Taking advantage of the roof's absence, I went out to take a peek. Clearly, this is a recreation of the aftermath from when Bucky drowns Olivia, whoever she is. Just like the recording from before said, Bucky just kind of walked away once he was done. After that, however, just like Walter's minigame, nothing happened. So, out of ideas, I did what I do best. Fail. I went over to Chief Wolf, who I called the sheriff for some reason.
Yeah, let's do the sheriff's minigame.
And started his minigame. Oddly enough, Olive was in Chief's minigame and had no eyes. So, failing Walter and Olive's minigames did do something. After trying to see if Olive could kill me in the minigame to no successful results, I let the Wendigo thing get me.
Oh shit.
Oh.
It's doing something.
Oh shit.
We are. We're doing something.
I tried to look around the cheese room for a bit, but found nothing. So I went up to the only thing that was interactable in the room, that being Chief Wolf. He says that he gave us a, quote, little treat in someone else's room. With that clue, I decided it was time to get my buddy caught up to Layer 3 and take a backseat in my investigation. I showed him how to get to Layer 3 through the diner, and overall, he had the exact same reactions as me.
I think.
Because I don't see that on any other empty wall. It's only on.
What is
Oh
that?
yeah, that's the.
But he found something that I didn't. A button.
Ooh.
A button that led to a YouTube video giving some interesting insight. We learned that a man named Gary Wilson was found dead in one of the kitchens of a place called Broadside Beach, probably some sort of vacation or entertainment location for fans of the Shipwrecked franchise. He was found in a fryer with multiple parts of his body broken. This sounds a lot like the video that we saw after fully failing Giovanni's minigame. In fact, now that I think about it, wasn't it Bucky who was bashing his head in? And why are these scenes played after failing these particular characters' minigames? But we didn't make this connection at the time due to some slight distractions.
Worth the shot though. Who knows?
Backshot roulette is my recommended.
What the fuck? Instead of buckshot roulette, backshot roulette. What's I'm in a band? The band in question.
Oh, that's actually really fun.
Another thing that my friend found was this computer showing off a dude that probably, most likely, definitely had his face fried off. And I don't think that people having their faces fried off is a super common thing, so we can also assume that this is Gary.
Maybe it's the guy that was in the air fryer.
Maybe. Oh yeah, I mean yeah, his face was fried off. So.
But even with this lore discovery, we still didn't make any actual progress and wasted a bunch of time looking for the
Maybe get
most
your camera
preposterous
in there?
places that a 4-digit code could be.
Is there anything?
That'd be crazy if there's like a 3 right above like that wall.
That's some Roblox shit, dude.
Coming up with nothing, my friend went back to Layer 1 to full fail Wolf's minigame and to try to fail Stumbler's minigame. Here, we made a very curious discovery.
Look around the map, I guess. Oh!
Oh wait, what?
Whoa! There's a door up there.
Oh.
That was not there before. Holy shit!
okay.
He made his way up to the door and naturally, we entered it.
I got it.
It's some sort of dev room, and it has 3 doors which all lead to different levels. It also has a tape named Optimist 1, with Elizabeth speaking about her design process and her optimistic outlook on Shipwreck 64's development. Left with only the doors to explore, we decided to start with menu.umap, to which our minds were blown.
Is this real, chat? Did we just go to menu? Oh!
Oh shit. Wait.
Whoa, wait a minute. Dude, this game is so fucking cool.
Oh, there's some. Oh.
But besides the cool effect and Chief Wolf or Connor being on the map briefly, we didn't find anything here. So we moved on to cavedemo.umap. It was literally just Stumbler's map with pretty much nothing, so we got out of there. And last but not least, we went through the third door, waterwaydemo.umap. This map was a version of Walter's level, but strangely enough, there were buttons around the map that were interactable, which meant that we could open the water gate just like in Walter's actual minigame. Unfortunately, this was a challenge as Bryce has some sort of motor skill dysfunction. For the life of him, he could not make it up these wall jumps, and I say this genuinely, it took him about 6 minutes just to clear this single wall jump. After opening up the gate, he went out into the water and immediately fell. We ran it up again, and this time we didn't fall off the map within the first 5 seconds of going outside the gate. However, nothing of note was really out there except for this cute little smiley face, and we kind of spent way too much time exploring this bit. Bryce went back to full fail Stumbler's minigame, and yet again, he turned up nothing.
No arms, fucking pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
It's fucked up, dude.
So we headed over to full fail
go fuck
Olive's
with this one.
minigame. By the last fail, this happened.
Okay, well she's
Okay.
gone now. So something had to have been activated.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Wait, was this the beaver scratch door?
Wait.
Oh shit, it is.
Whoa!
Thanks to Bryce wandering into random doors, we found another entrance into Layer 2, the fabled pool level. This is the same door that we saw earlier, named Layer 2 Room 1. We got the ball rolling again. We pressed this button and found a little room with a code and a tape that played a snippet of Hot Cross Buns. Not knowing what to make of it, we looked around the level some more and found this keypad.
Things being hidden behind waterfall is a great trope.
wall jumps.
Oh yeah. Uh-oh.
Attempt number
wall
2.
Jumps. Oh, money. Look at
I had
that.
to switch to keyboard and mouse real quick.
yeah.
Yep.
Following a long
the,
expedition in the
lighting
pool
continues
area,
being-
we took a break. And once we returned, I got myself caught up. As I was catching up, I made
Where?
a
I wanna see-
realization.
Okay, so there's 2 doors, Bryce. There's 2 doors that actually have it. Wait. Oh, wait, that might be it.
What?
To get to Dam. I think I might know how to get to Dam.
The dam was behind the other locked door named Layer 2, Room 3, and was unlocked after I full-failed Walter's minigame a while ago. With that,
this
all
is
3
probably
rooms
going
that
to
we
be the
saw in
dam.
the lobby of Layer 3 were
Oh, yeah,
discovered.
it is.
On one of the
So
rooms of the
that's-
dam, I found this tape player named RXBC, and figured out that the code was just how many times each letter code
we
was
got
said in the
EC
tape.
going
Saving
through
the
the
code,
door.
I continued exploring and found this dark room,
Oh,
which I turned
I'm in a
into
weird
a
area.
not dark room after clicking the light switch. Not only did the button power the lights, but it also powered a computer that
Whoa, what is it
displayed
showing
an
me?
extremely
I'm
low-quality step-by-step tutorial on how to reach a clip spot within the dam. Once we got into the clip, we found a keypad that I figured would require the code I saved previously.
Oh,
Entering this
shit.
door led to a bridge that dead ends at this button. Of course,
Oh
we
shit, when I'm
clicked
running
it.
away, it zoomed in and it's rumbling.
Oh, is it? Oh, mine's it's happening to me too. It's doing it. Is that the obelisks?
I think so.
Oh, fuck.
Did we get here from layer 2 or layer 1? This is layer 2, right?
This is layer 2.
Okay.
Dude, this place is. Oh, wow.
With these obelisks raised out of the sea, we were able to jump into them and enter a door. It led to a golden interior with multiple
gonna have to,
golden
like,
computers
cross
that had
worlds?
buttons, which we clicked. After clicking all of them, we unlocked the dam's entrance into layer 3. 2 down, 1 more to go. Returning to the pool level, we began deciphering the ECDC code. After some thinking, Bryce made a very good
There's gotta be
revelation.
a reason that this is.
Wait, the code is ECDC?
Yeah.
Those are all notes played in there, I think.
Similar to the RXBC code, ECDC is saying that the notes of the tape correspond with the code. We solved it, but it was in vain as for some strange reason, the gate was magically opened. I entered the code anyway for safe measure. After some time, we didn't know what was next, so we split up to look around the game. Bryce went into layer 3 and found something big.
No, I think those are...
Oh, the museum might have something. Wait, what happened?
The doors are open. The doors are open.
The doors are open on layer 3?
Remember earlier in layer 3 when I said that I went through the only unlocked door at the time?
and went through the only door that was unlocked for me, the door to the right of the computer.
Well, Bryce discovered that all 3 doors were now unlocked. This was a result of us completing all of the layer 2 rooms. I rushed down to layer 3 to check out the new rooms with him. We started with the left room, and pretty easily pressed all of the buttons we could get our hands on. Additionally, we found this recording named Devlog Random, where we hear Connor Thomas talking about their work on Shipwreck 64.
Given the go-ahead to get back to work on the project.
Having no more business in this room, we went
that are
back
really
out
easy
to the
to get,
computer
or
and went
that's
into the
also
center
just-
door. Behind it was an office area with more buttons. We knocked out the first one as it was pretty easy to find. However, another one was
There's
behind
code
a
here.
locked
Yeah.
gate. Approaching this door, I heard noises from the other side.
Oh, I heard something.
In the room was another button and a code on this monitor, but out of curiosity, I looked outside of the cage to see if we could locate the
Is there
source of
anything
the
to do
noise
with
I was
this stuff?
hearing.
Oh, wait, you can look. Oh, there's something out there.
What the hell is that? Well, you may recall a helping nub mentioning something about dwellers, those that wear the faces of Bucky's friends in layer 3. That is the dweller version of Walter Walrus, and don't worry, we'll get to meet the rest of the cast soon enough. We popped the code into the keypad and clicked the third button. This opened up a caged off portion of the floor. There is also a tape named Affirmations 1.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna sound like a madman recording. One of these things, you know,
Because we've already figured out that the other male voice is Connor from The Power of Deduction, we can assume that this character is the only other male voice we've heard from the tapes. This is Mark, who Connor was referring to in his devlog Mark tape. With this new knowledge, we can infer that Mark is the man who is overseeing the creation of Shipwreck 64, sent from Broadside Animation, and is the man that's giving them a hard time. We jumped into the now opened up hole in the floor and pressed the button. The gate was open. Figuring that we'd done enough for the day, we wrapped it up and saved this discovery for tomorrow.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
see, yeah, this was a good, good investigation.
Yes, indeed.
Thank God that guy's gone.
Right away, we went through the gate door. This is the plaza, the final area of layer 3 before we can go into layer 4, the paradise. Scattered about it are tons of computers, barrels, notes, and recordings. Looking around, I found a basement. Going against all of my instincts, I went down and realized that we were going to have to get the code for all of these golden computers. We knew this because there was an important part of a helping nub that I never mentioned. It contains the steps to reaching layer 4 and the tasks that we need to complete. Task 1 instructs the player to look for a computer that has a code in it, then find a tape player that has another code in it, and finally to start the task. Along with the 3 computers, the basement contains a tape named Devlog Rotting, where Connor talks about a secret convention demo copy being somewhere within Shipwreck 64, calling it his own flare.
Add a bit of my own flair.
Purr. After my playback of the tape, I had my first encounter with a resident dweller. I hid in a barrel and figured that I couldn't stick around forever, so I jumped out and gunned it to the main floor without even seeing what it looked like. To my benefit, of course. I roamed into this art area and found 2 paintings with numbers that had new colors. I wrote them down in case we needed them and reminded myself of the numbers that corresponded with the other colors I found. There was also a tape named Optimus 2, which was the long-awaited sequel to Optimus 1. In it, Elizabeth is yet again talking about progress on the game and the future. She mentions that they met with Broadside CEO.
That's the CEO of Broadside Animation Studios. A massive...
This was likely Mark. Feeling the overbearing anxiety that the plaza was crushing me with, I was hoping to temporarily alleviate my emotions by stepping out for a cigarette. My hopes were crushed, however, after finding out that the door we entered was one way.
What is?
Isn't this where I entered from? Why is it locked?
Me and Bryce had nowhere to go except for layer 4. We'd gone past the point of no return. We figured out the code for this gate, which was another one based on music notes, and found the computer to start the task. We also found the code for all the golden computers. Stumbler, the goat, was kind enough to leave a tape recording of him announcing that the code for the computers is 1997.
The code is 1997. The year when all went wrong.
But before jumping straight into it, we did some recon to get a general sense of where the computers are. While I was looking around, I had another encounter with a dweller. This time, however, I panicked as he approached me. I darted out of my barrel and began to run. Now that I had an idea of how fast they were, I felt much less comfortable here. While cowering away in a barrel, I noticed something popping up in the 4x3 black bars. I didn't know it at the moment, but every time that wind-up noise played, it meant that Dweller Olive Otter was going to peek into my screen to locate me. The only way to combat this is by hiding in a barrel. This explains why she didn't hunt me this first time. Unfortunately, however, I wasn't so lucky the second time.
What am I hearing? Oh, he's here! Oh god! I'm running. It's so scary. Please don't. Please don't. Holy fuck, dude.
I don't know why I screamed like that, but I thought it was pretty funny, so we're keeping it. After losing about 5 years of my life, I decided to start the task with Bryce. Making my rounds, I entered the code for as many computers as I could. It was quite difficult though, because I wasn't fully familiar with the map. Oh, and I don't think I mentioned that it's timed. So I stumbled about looking for any computers I could find. While looking around, I found a keypad that opened a door that did not accept the 1997. I realized that we were probably going to need that door open if we wanted to get all the computers. But we continued to do the trial anyway just to get a better idea of the computers' locations. Though, during my circuit, I got caught by a dweller for the first time.
Oh, I'm dead. Fuck.
It put me into this jail where Bucky was talking mad smack, but Bryce reminded me that the code for the jail was 7418. While getting more computers, I saw the true might of little Walter.
Oh, he broke it!
If you couldn't already guess, I was shitting myself after he exposed me from the only cover that I had. Unlike the other dwellers, Walter Walrus has object permanence. Truly terrifying. Supporting my theory, we were unable to find the remaining handful of computers, so we got to work on deciphering the code for the funny door. We figured it out and now had access to this office area of the plaza. Here, there were 2 more computers and another locked off area. The puzzle for this door was substantially easier, and we cracked it open all the same. In this section, there was a tape and 3 more computers, which was all that we needed. But before we started the trial again, we should acknowledge what the tape says. It's Elizabeth sending a message to Connor. Apparently, Connor is no longer at the office and a lot of equipment is
I
missing.
wanted to check in and see if you were there. But not only do I walk in and see you're gone, but so is half of the equipment. What are you doing?
We made our way back to the big computer to start the task, this time with all of the information we needed. We knocked out most of the computers pretty fast, but there were still some stragglers. But after finding all of the computers that I could remember, I was still missing 3 more. I surveyed the entire level to the best of my ability, and time was not on my side. At this point, Bryce had already gotten all of his computers and was giving me ideas on where they could be. I don't know.
The floor?
Yeah, got that one.
You got the basement. There's
basement!
4.
That's it! That's all of it. That's all I need. There's 3 in the
yeah.
basement. I completely forgot about the basement. Oh, let's go. Thank you, Bryce.
Huge.
Boom. Got it. Woo!
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking do it.
Task 1 was
Friend,
complete. There was only one more thing stopping us from getting into layer 4. Task 2. For this one, all we needed to do was retrieve a bunch of batteries and drop them into a computer.
Dude. I'm so fucking happy I hope I never have to go back there again. Okay.
Immediately brought back.
Aw, dude. We got the rooftop battery, the cave battery, and the office
It's all the
battery.
way in. Is that the 597?
Once we completed the task, the game started a
Fully
cutscene.
powered. Now I gotta go to the exit and oh! It's downloading something.
Oh my fucking god, Giovanni got my ass.
Oh, Olivia Gary Nathan? Whoa, 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 there's some info being dropped.
Oh shit.
Oh, I'm back at the little box thing again. I think the computer's done. It's put some kind of files somewhere. Oh, it put files somewhere. That's nice. Look around. Oh, we gotta get the files first.
The search for the files didn't take super long, and after downloading them, we got a lot of interesting information. However, I'm gonna save this for the post-game analysis because we're so close.
Yeah, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Okay, I'm gone. I got as much notes as I could.
And pretend that you
Oh, this is the demo showcase that Connor was probably talking about. We found a room with a whole bunch of chests, so of course we opened up every single one of them and found a secret, which is just an image you can view in the main menu. Walking along, we learned about skyboxes.
Whoa. Dude, is that real water? Oh no, it's just a skybox.
Eventually, we came to this elevator that led us to the lower levels. It finally clicked for us that we were now in layer 4. On this floor, we found a keypad that opened up to another section of this map. After trying out a few Haymaker codes, we decided to lock in and figure it out for real. But we soon found out that even in layer 4, we weren't alone.
4 men, 3 men, 1 woman. Sat in a room waiting for deliberation. That would not come from ears.
Whoa. That was...
Oh! We were joined by Rex's original creation, Locke. If you pay close attention, you can hear him spelling out Rex's name.
Romeo, Echo, J.
After looking around the pool floor for a little longer, we called it a day. We decided to try out the elevator again. Unfortunately, we were able to go down another floor. I don't think layer 4 was all it was cracked up to be. We quickly saw that our dweller friends were here with us.
Whatever.
Getting caught put us in a new jail with a dead guy. The code that we already used for the other jail, however, was not valid for this keypad. So we solved the puzzle to get out of there. At this point, we split up so we could cover more ground. Bryce was exploring the bottom level, while I looked around the demo room and pool room for any clues we could get. He was able to find a little nook in the jail that led to 4 colored barrels.
You did?
So in the jail cell, there's a little wall jump section that you can go up.
And a river. Crossing led us to a tape named Devlog Panic. We hear Connor's current mental state. He's ranting about the failure of their game. This was likely because Mark finally pulled the plug on their project.
Horribly. I can't even lie to myself on this recording. It went horribly. All that work, all for nothing.
We found a video from this area that showed us the locations of these invisible buttons. As I was watching it in my barrel, I realized that I was sitting in a barrel that the video shows. I promptly pressed the button and we continued the search. Bryce was able to find the second button in a secret room that only had a clipped wall as its entrance. We were left with one more button, according to the video, but this is the one that gave us the most trouble. You see, in the video, it seems like the button is literally just not shown, but it does show us the general location. So we made our way over there and just couldn't find this button. We tried tons of things, none of which worked. And unbeknownst to us, the button was in the video. In fact, it's the first thing you see in the video. Me and my friend never thought to check the video twice. We just looked at the location and winged it. And I'm ashamed to say that we didn't even figure this one out on our own. After about 20 minutes of jerking around, we just looked it up because we thought that there's no way we were finding this thing. Needless to say, we were shocked at our oversight. With the final button pressed, a gate was opened on our floor. Entering into the room, we clicked on a computer that opened up a website with a download named Codebreaker. There was also a recording named Devlog Resolution, where Connor just kind of whines a bit more. Nothing super special. We also got some 4-digit codes. Bryce downloaded Codebreaker first and found out that it was supposedly VR.
64 Open VR API.
VR? Let's go.
Sadly though, I quickly saw that Codebreaker did not have VR, and my dreams of being Bucky in first person were destroyed.
Reset. Is there actually no VR? There's gotta be VR, dude.
As you may have guessed, in Codebreaker, we did a little bit of code breaking, and we talked to Paul.
Okay. That's cute. Oh, what is this? It's Paul. Yeah, he does that. It certainly does get annoying. It's okay, he'll simmer down soon.
Now, I'm gonna skip how we got the code for the funny door, because admittedly, I lost a lot of the footage somehow. But I was able to find this little snippet that we got after entering some combinations into Codebreaker.
What's that video again?
Oh. Whoa, pool room, reveal. Okay, 1. How many?
How many doors?
How many doors, computers, tables,
lights?
Oh, this clue would help us decipher the code. Going through the door behind the gate is a bridge that leads to a new area. We got a video that showed us where this invisible button was and solved this Dr. Seuss ass puzzle. We went through this door that led us to, for a lack of a better word, a meat cave. Immediately, we see a tape named Affirmations 2. It's Mark again, and he doesn't sound much happier than before. He talks about how Broadside is going under and reveals why he cut off Cogware Games. Apparently, they weren't being responsive enough, nor did their progress meet the standards that Mark had. It was a last-ditch effort to save the company.
At this point, what the fuck's a layoff gonna do? It'll sink us further into the shit.
Continuing through the meat cave, we can see a heart with a mirror at the bottom. Going through the door at the end of it led back to the demo room, but the bars that were originally in this doorway were now gone. Going into the hallway, our screens darken, and we're introduced to a game set to release in 1997.
Congratulations on reaching the end of our demo.
Press it, yeah.
We're happy to see you're engaging with our work. We're showing this to you for one reason. As a reward for seeing all of Cogware's capabilities, everyone, I'd like to introduce you all to an exciting game set to release in 1997. I now present...
Oh shit, this is back to where we were before.
Oh. Oh, this is the one spot.
Yep.
We were put back to the title screen room that we saw earlier, but this time, Bucky's friends are looking at him.
Were they looking at us before? No, they were not looking at us.
It then cuts to a video explaining that a monster made of wood and cloth was outside some park.
This music does not fit this at all.
What do you mean?
The monster is revealed, and it's not Bucky, or any of the other various dwellers we've already seen. This one is different.
This is a different guy.
Yeah, it's a new guy.
Is this Blot?
Maybe.
It's you. I thought I was the only one rotting down here. So much has happened. So much. It's all beyond your understanding. They call out to me. All 4 of them. I hear their voices skittering around in the inside of my wooden shell, even down to the pulsating mass laying beneath it. I need you to find me. It won't be easy to catch. You'll need to prove to me that you want what I have. If you do as I ask, you'll know everything. Every single detail of what happened. Why you are who you are. What do you say, friend? Let's give it a go.
Oh, are we looking for these guys? Oh, find me. After collecting the first, whatever it is, a collection of strange noises join together. There's an ominous hum combined with the chirping of birds. Layered in with that, we can hear what almost sounds like a voice yelling. There's a lot of noises happening. There's barrels. This combination of juxtaposed sounds creates a chilling feeling for what's to come. I found my second one on the beach, but immediately was caught by Block. All of the dwellers that we've seen up until now are on the hunt for me. That includes Walter, Olive, Giovanni, Bucky, and Block. And every time they catch you, they take away one of your, things. This isn't going to be easy. I got my second statue back, and then got the third one. Funnily enough, my fourth and fifth spawned right on top of each other. I had a close call with Walter because for some reason, when I reached his barrel, it refused to let me in. Let me hide! What the fuck?
I found my sixth, and shortly after was caught with my pants down. I was at pretty much the only area of the map where there weren't any close by barrels, and Blot took advantage of it. I got my sixth one back at the theater, and then my seventh one. We're so close. Quickly after I got my seventh one, Giovanni chased me into a barrel. Then Walter showed up with him. Then Olive made an appearance.
All are. Come to the party, everybody. Here we go.
Eventually, they left, and I was free to get the 8th statue. I got my 9th statue from the theater again, where I had a very strange encounter with Olive.
What the fuck, bro? Okay, that's cute. Oh, she's not even fully developed.
Get out of there first.
Yeah.
Poetically, the 10th and final statue spawned at the place where I collected the first one.
Oh, there it is.
Oh shit, alright, I'll press mine in a second. Dude, wait, this guy might be too on my nuts.
Wait, where do we go?
Maybe into the living quarters?
Oh, it just blacks you out.
And you shall receive.
Ooh. This is the
Wait, don't
freaking
go forward yet.
opening. Okay, I won't. I'm waiting.
I'll press the button.
Connor, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been playing this for about 2 hours now, and I'm not seeing the widespread appeal you've been promising us. It's, well, to be honest with you, it's clunky. I don't know what I'm doing. The characters who you promised would have depth and life, they are just flat. To be frank, after what happened at Studio Grounds, I really don't think this is gonna be anything. It's not gonna be anything in the same tier as our movies, our park, anything. I just don't know if it's worth continuing to sink money into.
Sink money into? Mark, this is our job. You've had us working on this for 2 years, and now suddenly it's an issue?
So, what can we do to fix it?
No, Liz. This isn't a fix the game issue. It's a fix your perspective issue. Mark, you are sitting in front of some of the greatest technology of the decade, and you're gonna brush it off?
Connor, I'm not brushing anything off. I'm just trying to understand where this...
I'm sorry to say, Mark, but it's true. It's not that we've made a bad game. We've all exceeded the industry standard. What we're having a hard time passing is your thick skull and...
Connor! Stop. Look, I'm so sorry about him. He's just under a lot of...
Is it Harley? Is it not worth it anymore because you're trying to treat her instead?
What?
Yeah, I said it.
What are you bringing her into this for?
Because I bet that's what you're gonna do. You can't keep funding our 2 years worth of work. Gotta buy her a fancy casket.
Unbelievable.
Mark!
Now, Liz, you're fine, okay? But I want you to know that we are done, professionally. All right? I don't want to work with any of you guys again. Quite frankly, I don't want to see you guys touch our property. Any of that. Am I clear?
Yes.
I will be taking my leave now. Good luck in your future endeavors. I expect the office to be cleared by next week. Do not contact me again.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Oh, he's depressed. He's gonna go beat up the girl beaver then.
It's a lovely day today.
Birds are singing, flowers are blooming.
Oh, you want some fresh air. What happened?
You'll see.
Do what, Bucky Beaver? What are you talking about, Bucky Beaver? What do you mean? Do what? You want me to jump onto the other platforms? Because this is a platforming game?
I'm gonna try to...
I'm gonna go to the other
jump
balcony.
another platform.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't make it.
I think they're... Go! Oh, I'm done. I'm done. Bucky Beaver's done. Thank you, Mark. Closing off the game, we get a zoom in on this house with something on the porch. What is that? Hello everyone, as you may have heard, our lead dev here at Cogware, Thomas's team. Oh, Connor kills himself. So that's why he gets stuck in the game. Connor is revealed to have taken his own life. This is the son of Connor?
Maybe. Or no, I think it's an ex-Cogware dev. Because I remember they said that they got ex-Cogware people to work with them on the game, or like re-releasing it.
Oh yeah.
We never got answers as to what the door code is. Like the stuff on layer 1.
Yeah. I don't know what that's gonna be.
Alright.
So we still gotta look into that shit. This video might take a while to make. So what does it all mean? It all begins with Rex Broadside. As a child, he created his first character, Blot, a bunny with overalls and a cute hat. Going into adulthood, Rex began to see success in his animation career as Blot was beloved by many. Wanting to expand his scope, he signed up a contract with a company. If you remember the museum from earlier, you know how this went. Rex lost his rights to Blot and was at rock bottom. After living with his mother for a while, one morning Rex was looking at his waffle breakfast. He imagined the waffle as a character, and with more and more thought, that waffle became Bucky Beaver. Just like that, the Shipwrecked franchise was created, and Rex quickly catapulted Bucky's success into founding a company, Broadside Animation. At this point, Bucky was bigger than Blot ever was or could dream of being, and as time passed, Rex decided to pass down his role as the company manager to one Mark Mullins. Mark had a particular vision for the Shipwrecked franchise, that being to expand it out of animation and make it more monetizable. Things like merchandise, movies, or even parks were created, which Rex would watch with disgust from the sidelines, as this was not what he wanted for his company. Soon enough, Rex found out he had cancer. Worried about how people would remember him after his death, he decided to call a meeting with Mark in order to set the company down a path that's less greedy and corporate. Mark and his colleagues, however, treated Rex only like a figurehead, rather than the person that painstakingly founded Broadside. Rex, understandably pissed off, stormed out and cut ties with the company altogether. He'd been scammed yet again. It's somewhere around this time that Broadside Beach is opened up. It's a vacation spot located in the Bahamas that, predictably, Rex is outspoken against. As with many of the other projects Mark spearheaded, Rex recognized that this was nothing more than a quick cash grab. However, on Broadside Beach, or its original name, Nola Terra, which probably means nobody's land, an organic fleshy material was discovered by Broadside. The timeline here gets a bit fuzzy, but shortly after Rex finally succumbed to his illness, Broadside began to investigate the flesh material at Nola Terra in order to find a way to create immortality. This material would be found in caves and seemingly wanted to spread onto living organisms. Broadside's primary purpose was to bring Rex back to life in the interest of keeping their company's face. Of course, this was all kept under wraps. Most of this research came from their new Studio Grounds facility, where they created the Studio Grounds Innovative Labs, supposedly built in memory of Rex. This would lead to the creation of the Starling program. Starlings, or Dwellers as they'd be called later on, were the product of Broadside's immortality test. The first generation of Starlings would be a complete disaster, as all they do is writhe in pain. But by the third generation, they created their first fully successful and autonomous Starling. Using one of their deceased employees, Brandon Lester, they'd created a Bucky Starling, fusing Bucky's mascot suit to Brandon's flesh. They assigned him to work at Broadside Beach, where he'd go completely rogue. He'd first start off by brutally murdering Olivia Finch, who the original Brandon had some sort of relationship with in the past. Following this, he'd murder two other employees, Gary in a fryer, and Nathan with a chair. All three of these employees would be used in the Starling project as well, with no real success as they came out unrecognizably deformed. Also, Brandon, the original third-gen Starling, would go on to canonically die from a fentanyl overdose. Just thought that was
important. Eventually, Broadside was able to bring Rex back. They represented his form in a suit that resembled Blot's. While these experiments were happening, sometime in the 90s, a company named Cogware Games was founded by Connor Thomas, Elizabeth Baker, and Harry Waters. The three devs began talk on a game where you could be a cop that busts into some kind of facility. This would lead them to creating Blundercover, which performed quite well and would gain recognition from Broadside Animation. Mark would speak with Connor, offering him a deal that he simply couldn't refuse. With that, Shipwreck 64 officially begun development. But as we uncovered through our playthrough, it didn't go as smoothly as anybody could have hoped. There were tons of setbacks during development, Broadside began running into financial issues, and Mark's wife, Harley, fell seriously sick. This culminated in Mark deciding to step over to their studio in order to see the game's progress for himself. He hated it. After having a heated argument with Connor, Mark took his leave. Cogware was cut off, and Connor left the office. However, during the multi-year development of the game, Connor had found something curious. In one of his presentations for Shipwreck 64 to Broadside, Connor was able to take some files back with him on a hard drive. Reviewing these files, he found all of Broadside's secrets. He found out about the company's cover-ups, particularly Bullet.N, which was a messaging board that shared suspicion over Broadside's operations. One regular chatter on this board was Vandal, who was a Starling birth through the combination of Brandon, Olivia, Nathan, and Gary. Connor would also find out about the multiple deaths related to the Shipwrecks franchise. Not only did he see the deaths of employees, but he'd also comment on seeing the aftermath of a child who got crushed in one of the machines at some sort of shipwrecked amusement park. Connor was repulsed by the idea that these images not only existed, but were actively being shared amongst Broadside employees. However, he was conflicted as he worried for the safety of anyone that knew about these secrets. This explains why Connor would say in one of his recordings within the game that he doesn't feel safe around Mark. So, in Connor's final act of life, he'd write a note to his son Pat, requesting that he uploads all of Broadside's truths into Shipwreck 64. Connor would then throw himself off a balcony. The finished game was soft launched in 1997 and then removed off shelves after people reported the graphic imagery within it, which brings us to the restored copy of the game that the player plays today. Wait a minute, but what about the fact that Connor is in the game as Chief Wolf? And what about the weird thing at the end that told us to find him? Whether or not Shipwreck 64 is a haunted game is up for debate. At first glance, it seems like the easy answer is no, and that it's just an archive of all the disgusting things that Broadside Animations has done, such as their science fiction-y Starling project. Yet, if we only chalk up the game to be purely based off realism, it leaves those unanswered questions. There's no straightforward answer to whether Connor is actually in the game or not, as the Connor we talk to could just be Connor inserting himself into the game to reflect personally on his work. However, even with this consideration, there isn't a clear explanation as to why this character seems to be sentient within the game, or why there are even Starlings in the game to begin with. But, seeing that I can't give you all the answers, I think it's important to at least address who this guy is. This is the Husk. He's described as being constructed from wood and other various pieces of debris. Doing some research on him, I found out that he was the other Starling created from the amalgamation of Brandon, Olivia, Gary, and Nathan. As of where the series is now, there isn't much known about it, but it seems like he has some supernatural power. It just doesn't seem feasible that it was Connor himself who programmed this guy into the game, and even if he did, where would his voice come from? I'm unsure if this ARG series is still running, but I'm excited to see how these mysteries are answered. What was initially a game that I picked up just because it sort of caught my eye developed into probably one of my favorite games. This entire undertaking is especially impressive when you consider that the lead developer was literally 18. Squeaks was 18 years old and making games and stories that are more fleshed out than 95% of the garbage that you see on the internet. He's also a fellow VR enthusiast. Hit me up for some GT, Squeaks. It's so wonderful to see that there are, in fact, people on the internet making cool shit during an age where stuff like that is probably the least effective means of getting yourself out there. This entire game is just an awesome mesh of cool ideas. I love the utilization of the black bars from the analog effect. The part where we got teleported into the main menu room was also so fucking sick. Or even the small detail of the dwellers looking at the player's camera, almost symbolizing that they can see your soul. There are some parts that play out like a movie. My favorite example of this was in Layer 2 Dam, when the obelisks, or statues, or whatever, slowly rise out of the water. I could really go on and on about the cool little moments from the game itself, but I should also not forget to acknowledge the large amount of work that was probably done on creating this entire game's lore. From what I gathered, Squeaks actually started this off as a simple ARG format thingy, but then said fuck it and turned the whole thing into an actual ARG. This is probably the reason that the game feels so meaty. There's a large web of interconnected pieces of media that go into telling the story of Shipwreck 64, which really helps to immerse the audience in its world. Additionally, the feeling of solving puzzles in this game and knowing that you're progressing and getting closer to learning about what the hell is going on is so damn addicting. The sheer amount of corners and crevices to this game should be enough to convince you to play it, even if you watch this video the entire way through, which I have a feeling is probably not the case for most. There's definitely a lot of information that this video didn't cover, so I'm sorry, but the script is long enough as is. Go look for the cool stuff yourself.
I like your style, kid.